Hello, Ultimate Coach Facebook group. I'm here with Kirsten today. Hello, Kirsten.
Hello, Angie.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm excited to have this conversation.
So, the reason I asked Kirsten to come and talk to us is because my experience with the Ultimate Experience, a very big part of that for me was meeting Kirsten and our friendship that's developed. And I don't know about for Kirsten, but that's been really, really huge for me. So, I'm absolutely honoured to ask Kirsten to come and have a conversation with me today. And you have to excuse me a bit today as well, because I've managed to catch a cold off my granddaughter, so I'm a bit croaky. So I'm just going to run through the questions, if that's okay. And I'm sure everyone would love to know how you found the experience. So tell me a bit about your experience. How did you come to be at the London event?
Well, thanks for the lovely introduction, Angie. Yes, our friendship has grown out of this whole experience. And maybe I'll say a bit more about that later. But how did I get to it? Good question. I think actually about 18 months ago, which was April last year, I just came out of quite a difficult life experience. My parents had died, both of them within 10 days, 18 months prior to the London event. And I think it was just after lockdown pretty much as well. So I'd kind of lived almost like a life, maybe 2 years, a bit like a hermit, a little bit introverted. I mean, I was still living and working and being part of my family, but I wasn't very socially active for 2 years because I was kind of tending to my grieving process. And then when I was beginning to feel it's time to move out again in the world, I got a text from Amy Rose, who is also a friend of mine who I met in lockdown in a YouTube channel training. And she said we had lost touch a little bit, and she sent me out of the blue seemingly this email and saying, I'm gonna be in London, and she's American. There's this amazing event, and please read the book. It'd be lovely to see you. And I thought, bloody hell, she's gonna come to London from America. That must be something quite special. So I looked into it and I thought, okay, it sounds interesting. And because I was just in my own life at the threshold from being quite inward to wanting to be a bit more outward, I booked and paid. And that's how I got there, through Amy Rose, who is also part of this community.
So I need to give a very big thanks to Amy Rose for introducing us. I didn't know that story. That's brilliant.
Mm.
So what about on the day of the event? How did you find the event itself?
Yes, different levels to it, I would say. I felt quite anxious and a bit vulnerable because I went on my own. I didn't know anyone. I think I just joined maybe a week prior the Ultimate Facebook group and posted a little video to introduce myself. So I was quite anxious, feeling a bit alone, a bit vulnerable, to meet so many people. I don't know how many people were there, 500 or
Yeah, I think must be
yeah,
100.
yeah. So I entered the hotel sort of hall and queued up on the ticket, I think where we had to show our tickets. And there was a lovely man who came and hugged me and said, "Hi, Kirsten, how are you?" And it was Dave Orton, who I'd never met before. So he was like a beautiful angel, kind of welcoming me. And it kind of was so touching and made me actually want to cry. And then in the next moment, when I did actually feel quite tearful because it was, entering as one person, such a big kind of event. I felt really a little bit shaky. And then came across Andrea Fosler, and she said, "You're going to be all right. This will change your life." And then she disappeared. So it almost felt as if I met two angels as I was entering the hall. And that was kind of setting the scene for a fantastic experience. Yes, I mean, the day was, I think, huge group. I mean, I don't love huge groups, so I found it a bit unsettling. But equally, um, I loved Amy's talk. I was utterly, deeply, deeply affected by Amy, Hardenson's talk and her being. I loved her. I actually made a video after the event about it. I might actually post it in the Facebook group because it talks about what I took from the talk. She talked very sensitively, delicately, strongly, and deeply about, I think, how to survive and thrive in relationships. I think she was talking in a way about her relationship with Steve Hardison and what she had found helpful along the way. And that really resonated with me because it really applies to my own relationships. Yes, she highlights the power of listening, forgiving, and all these important pearls of wisdoms she highlighted. So that spoke to me very deeply. And I loved also, I found meeting Steve on stage very entertaining and touching as well. And the idea that being, our way of being, which means how we think and feel every minute of the day, how that affects how we create every moment and every future moment, that's profound. Yeah, that's profound. That stayed with me. So the content was really good. The atmosphere, I thought, was beaming with inspiration, excitement, and enthusiasm. And so that was the day for me. And you and I met, which was actually the night before on the Friday, which was lovely. And that I think I met your husband first on the bar in the Columbia Hotel, and he said, "Come and I'll introduce you to my wife," and that's how we met. And a lovely friendship has grown out of that, Angie. Yeah, which I didn't expect on that day, but it just happened. And I think you called our friendship, or saying you feel like we are new friends, but it felt like an old friend, and that's how I feel
Yeah,
about
we
us.
just had that very instant connection on that day, which is just, for me, is just really grown from that day.
Yes, yes,
A memory had come up for me while you were speaking, which was
yes,
you coming over to myself and Matt later on in the afternoon, and you and Matt both going over and giving Steve a hug.
yes,
And I remember you saying how that would have normally have been too far out of your comfort zone.
yes, yes.
You were incredible, where you just walked up and introduced yourself, and I was in a moment of awe when you walked up to Steve.
Right. Yes, I wanted to touch him. I said, "Hello, Steve. I'm Kirsten." And he said, "Oh, I'm Steve. Nice to meet you." And we hugged. And he was a little bit. He was busy with, I think, getting his microphone on his suit or something. But that was nice, just to be connecting in this way. Yeah, yeah. I remember that moment, and I kind of wanted to pull you and Matt about it, but you said, "No, no, no, not now."
Matt did actually go up and introduce himself to Steve. I just kind of felt, for me, I was just soaking everything up that day. It was just an amazing
There
experience.
was so much to soak up. Yes.
Oh, just to drop back very slightly, I'm just wondering, your video that you did about Amy was absolutely incredible. I'm just wondering if you could drop it into the comments on this video.
I'd love to. I'd love to.
Really
I'd
good.
love to. Because it's very short. I think it's only 7 minutes or so. And yes, yeah, no, I'd love
Yeah,
to.
it was
Because
very impactful.
yes, because Amy is speaking as well in India. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And yeah, it stands out for me as well. We could just hear a pin drop when Amy was speaking.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mm.
Yes, I thought both of them together. There was Amy with her energy, strong, delicate, finely tuned, thoughtful, sincere. And then there was, or is, Steve, and he has a totally different energy, also sincere. But for me, he kind of emanates this enormous sense of possibility, in which I think has also marked for me this event. I feel, having been there on this day and the weeks after and months after, I felt inside that we stepped into this field of possibility and creation and connection. I think that's really, in a nutshell, for me. I think the day gave everything I was looking for, which was connection. I think I was really looking for connection, and I feel I was suddenly finding myself in this big playground with so many potential playmates and to create with, in a way. And the sense of possibility, I think, was or is something that I've experienced and still, or that was sparked within me. Let's put it like this. It certainly sparked something, and the field was there to spark us in a way. Yes, and Steve, I feel, embodies this sense of possibility and creation and co-creation.
Yeah, that's an amazing way to sum it up. And I really relate to kind of that feeling on the day of just something inside locking that wasn't unlocked before.
Yes.
Yeah, I can absolutely relate to what you're saying. And it was that just that environment and Steve speaking and just all of the speakers really just showing us who we can be.
Yeah, sparking. Yes, that's right. Yeah, bringing it alive. It's kind of bringing something alive. That's how I experienced it. Yeah.
Yeah, something that had been sleeping, like maybe.
Yes, it was there and it needs to be sparked. And I said, that's if someone is ready to be sparked, go to India or to be ignited. It's kind of, yes.
And would you say that since the experience, your life has continued to be impacted?
Very much, yes, very much. Because I think at the time when I received sort of Amy Rose's calling, your invitation, I was like at a threshold, and I was very ready to almost like open the windows and doors again to life, to life outside, and this event then I stepped into this matrix or this kind of energy field, and I think I've made many connections which I was looking for. So ours is just one example, and I'm eternally grateful for our friendship. I feel we'll be friends forever, Angie. That's the kind of connection and the quality of friendship I was hoping for. And I made also interesting connections with Amy Rose. We continue to have connection and develop it. Victoria, Kwanzaa, lovely people. Ariel, like I had an interesting connection with Ariel. She really helped me out a few months after the event when I was going through something difficult. And she said, come on, let's have 2 hours session together. And she really helped me powerfully. So yes, that you inspired me to join Ankush's coaching school, which continues to again spark inspiration, and I'm now considering setting up a podcast, possibly writing a book. I've now transformed my psychology practice into a psychology and coaching practice. Yes, the ripple effects are enormous. But I think it's also important to not sort of keep things in the cloud. It is also because I bring my continuous energy to it. I'm determined, I'm tenacious, I'm committed. So I think when you have the right ingredients and you step into this environment, I think a lot of stuff becomes possible that seemed impossible before. Yes, totally. Ripple effects are big. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. So, one last question before we finish is that Ranjan and team are doing an incredible job bringing this to India, and it's going to be at least as powerful. What would you say to anyone that hasn't experienced these events before, that is still a bit undecided?
Yes, a good question. I would say if you're looking for connection, inspiration, and an experience that will spark and unlock your hidden creativity and potential, go. I think that's important. And I think the other thing is, I think as well, along the journey, I think if we have an open heart and an open mind, I think this event will inevitably change your life, you know. I remember actually on the day Steve said, I think it was Steve who said it, please take a photograph of yourself now with your phone before you switch them off. And I will promise you, life won't be the same after this day. And I thought, all right, well, that sounds very promising and a bit big. But I'm open. I'm bloody open to it. So I took a photograph, and I didn't know at the time whether that was going to be true or whether that's going to be just some sort of big, unattainable promise. But it has proven to be totally true. So I think yes, I would say for anyone who's got an open heart and open mind, and wants to step into a field and a wonderful playground of possibility, creation, and connection, go for it.
Wow, absolutely. These events are life-changing, and Steve Hardison, as he said, Steve Hardison is his word, and he does change lives. And he changes lives just from the events, being in there in that space with what's created. And yeah, thank you, Kirsten. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure, Angie, to speak with you in this way.
And I love who you are. I love who you're being, and I'm privileged to call you my friend. Thank you, Kirsten.
I feel the same.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.